There are 45 books that I want to talk about today. I don't want to stay on each one individually too much because I don't remember them that well, honestly. We're just gonna focus on the ranking. We have the following categories. The super supreme, the ones that really stayed with me, shook me. I thought about them a lot after finishing them. The greats, great book. You know, what else can I say? Okay. When someone asks you how that book was, you just say, it was okay. Then maybe not. I would not read them now. I don't know why I read them then. And the never agains. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The first one is These Broken Stars. 3 books in the series. I thought about it a lot. Especially because when I was a kid, I was really into fantasy. Let me just start right off the bat with that. You're gonna see a lot of fantasy books in here. These Broken Stars, a trilogy with 3 books. Who would have thought? You get a couple in each book. They all meet at the end, and I was really into crossovers at the time. I used to watch a lot of Marvel and DC, and I remember watching every series that Marvel put out so I could watch the episode in which they all met. That was a lot of dedication that I would not get into now. Only if you paid me a lot of money. As I said, I thought about this trilogy, about all of these 3 books a lot after finishing them, but I don't think they're super supreme, baby. I'm just gonna put it in the greats. Animal Farm by George Orwell. I read this book twice. Let me just put it like this. It was my first George Orwell book. I read it in Romanian. I never read it in English, which I should do. I have some George Orwell here, actually. I have The Road to Wigan Pier, which you're gonna see flipped because I kind of flip my videos all the time because I look really weird if I don't flip them. Homage to Catalonia. Ooh, I have 1984, which is really pretty. And I also have A Clergyman's Daughter, but I don't know where it is. So Animal Farm started off a really great love for Orwell. I'm thinking I'll put it in the grades also. The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I read The Red Pyramid, that Egyptian trilogy that he has, and I read the entirety of the Percy Jackson series, and at some point I realized he just repeats himself too much, although this series was very fun for me. I'll put it in the greats just because it influenced me as much as it did. Vampire Academy. This series made me a reader. It was amazing. I loved every minute of it. It was also the time when I watched The Vampire Diaries, which I promised myself that I would never watch. It's going to super supreme. Graceling. Graceling had an effect on me. I don't remember where exactly I heard about this book. It was definitely a booktuber that read a lot of fantasy. This book was truly the first. Oh my goodness, I just watched that tree being taken down. The first truly immersive fantasy for me. And then I read Bitter Blue, and then there was another book that she put out, Fire. So it was Graceling, Fire, and Bitter Blue. Nothing compared to Graceling though. I read this also 2 times. I read it when I was 16, and then I read it again at 20. But I would put it, I think, in the greats. Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake. Do you remember Kendare Blake with the 3 dark crowns? Yeah. That one. Anna Dressed in Blood was great for me. It was the first horror book that I ever read. And I also read the second book in this duology, I think it is. But I don't think I would read it now. So it was okay. Between Shades of Grey. Listen, I just saw Ruta Sepetys 2 years ago or 3 years ago. She came to Romania because she wrote a book about Romania. A historical fiction. I forgot what it's called. If 16-year-old me would have read that book, she would have screamed her ass off. Between Shades of Grey is again a book that I read 2 times and I cried. One of the first historical fictions that I've ever read. So I think it's going to go for that reason in the super supreme playlist for the dead. I gotta give this book the attention it deserves because it introduced me to the Shins. Don't remember anything about it besides the fact that it had a playlist at the beginning of the book or at the end. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. I can put the playlist somewhere in here. Found it on Google. So because of the Shins, I would put it in okay. All Those Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I would not read that now. I only remember one scene from this book in which someone drowned or was about to. Read it years and years and years ago. Didn't think about it that much. Maybe not, you know, maybe not. Truth Witch by Victoria Aveyard. Yes! So this is a series. Victoria Aveyard was really good friends with Susan Denard. Oh my god, what? Did I just say Truth Witch is by Victoria Aveyard? No, this is not okay. Truth Witch is written by Susan Denard, who was really good friends with Sarah J. Maas. So I don't know why I brought Victoria Aveyard into the discussion. After I finished Truth Witch, I felt a change happen in my being. And I cried after reading this book, not because something incredible happened, but because I felt that I read a masterpiece. And for that reason, we're gonna put it in the Super Supreme. My touchpad isn't going that far. I have to really try my best. Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. This is not a book that transformed my life. I mean, it did. It did because it showed me the kind of poetry that I don't like. For that, I have to really say thank you, Rupi, for writing such a bad poetry book. So Never Again. Soundless by Rochelle Mead. Rochelle Mead comes back again, and she's going to the Super Supremes again because this standalone brought me a feeling, and I couldn't stop thinking and talking about it for a week after. I remember taking walks with my cousin late at night. I remember this particular walk. We were going to the store, and I just couldn't stop talking about this book. And there aren't many books like that have entered my life. So Soundless has earned its place in the Super Supremes. The Secret Circle. I did not read all of these books. It's one of those series that stuck with me in a way. It's one of the first series that I've ever read, and so they made me a reader. What can I say? And I did watch the TV show too, and I think I kind of liked it. I don't remember. But Britt Robertson I liked, and I still like. She's great. Girl Boss, I need to rewatch that show because it's great. I honestly watched it 2 times, I think. I know there are many books in here that I said that I read 2 times. I was very impressionable. I had a lot more dedication back then. Now it's rare for me to read the book more than once, and I have to change that. Anyways, coming back to The Secret Circle, it's an okay. The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. Reading this book for me was a wonder. I fucking loved it. I think you know what it's about, but basically this girl that really loves reading, and she reads whatever the hell she can get her hands on, really. I think she starts stealing books. Isn't that the title of the book? And this was an experience for me, so I'll put it in the grades. The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I don't remember anything about it. I did not like reading this book. I'm sorry. I don't think I was prepared. Either that or the book is just not really well written. I think I tried. You know what? Just scratch that. I don't know if I read it in Romanian or if I read it in English. I'm realizing that a lot of these books that I'm talking about, I read in Romanian. There's a big difference in the writing, you know what I'm saying? You lose a lot in translation, literally. So that's one of the reasons why I might like some books that you hate because of the writing, and why you might love some books that I hate because of the writing. Catcher in the Rye, maybe not. The Hunger Games by Susanna. Every time I finished one of the books in this series, I just put on the movie, and it was fucking amazing. And I also did that recently with Something Wicked This Way Comes, which it was just bad overall. That movie and the book, no. But The Hunger Games, I volunteer as tribute. And from the movie, there's also this amazing song that keeps coming back to my mind over and over again. Once in a blue moon, are you coming to the tree? That one. I love it. It's going to the Super Supremes. Aristotle and Dante discovered the secrets of the universe. It was super cool. Didn't read the second book though. This one I really liked. So I don't know, because I think it wasn't well written. I don't remember, but I don't think it was well written. I don't know why I think that. I don't have any proof. I think it's going into the okays. The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. Magical realism. I think it was my first magical realism. Actually, no, because I think Mircea Cărtărescu writes some magical realism, and I'd read him before this book. I remember not really enjoying it that much. And honestly, I would not read this book ever again. Only because I wouldn't want to waste my time with it. But it's still an okay book, but it's a maybe not. But I know that I wouldn't read it now. I think I'm gonna put it in never again. Do it for the gag, you know? Rebel of the Sands. I loved this book. I didn't continue reading the series. Don't ask me why, but I enjoyed it a lot. And I remember my friends asked me to go out, and I said, no, Nana, I'm at home reading Rebel of the Sands, bitch. I'm gonna come out after I'm finishing my chapter. And I think I read a few more chapters actually, and then went out, and it felt so good. I'm telling you, going out after reading more of this book by my own volition, thinking, you know, I have a job to do, I'm reading, and then going out feeling that pure fulfillment. So Rebel of the Sands is going into the grades. Replica by Lauren Oliver. You know, it was an interesting read. If I'm not mistaken, I think you had to read it. I think the first part of the book was from one girl's perspective, the second part of the book was from the other girl's perspective, and they were twins or something like that, and you had to read one chapter of the first part and one chapter of the second part and then continue like that all the way through the book until you got to the middle. I don't know if I just made that up, but that would be a pretty good idea. I don't know if I would read it now. I think it's a maybe not. No, it's okay. The Wicked Deep by Shia Earnshaw. I actually wrote a Goodreads review on this. I remember not liking something about it. Let's see. I feel like there were a lot of gaps in the story, and here I'm talking about the period when Hazel entered Penny's body. I feel like I would have to reread the book to fill them up, but not entirely sure it would happen even then. And I gave it 4 stars. If there would be a plot hole like that now in the book that I'm reading, that would take 2 stars off immediately. We're gonna put The Wicked Deep into Never Again. Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I love V.E. Schwab. V.E. Schwab was a great character in my teenage years. I think I'm gonna put it in the greats. All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. Historical fiction again. I cried. It was amazing. It was amazing. I'm gonna put it in the greats. I didn't watch the TV show though. On Beauty by Zadie Smith. Again, another book that I actually read in Romanian, and it kind of bored me, not gonna lie. But I did feel an interesting way of writing in that book. I did feel like it spoke to me in a different way. So I'll put it in the okays. Angels Fall by Nora Roberts, a book that I enjoyed dramatically. I did not know that I was gonna enjoy it this much. I don't know how it's written in English. Again, it's something that I read in Romanian. It's about this woman that moves into a new town. She's a stranger there, basically. She gets a job in the kitchen. I think she sees a murder and she's trying to figure out who did it, who the victim is, and stuff like that. And she also falls in love. I watched the movie after as well. Loved it. I'm gonna put it in the greats. The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. A book that I read in a day in a 24-hour readathon trial, let's say. Great thriller, amazing, would definitely reread. Honestly, for me at the time, I think it was one of the greats. Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. This one is not about the Holocaust. This one's about a ship, Second World War or First, I don't remember. I should probably look it up, but I'm not going to. I cried a lot, and I did not know this ship existed. If I'm not mistaken, it was the biggest ship to ever kill most people on a ship. Did you understand that? Actually, let me look it up. Yeah, this was it. The MV Wilhelm Gustloff. So it's a story about that, and it's great, and I recommend it. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Didn't finish the series. I read only the first 2 books. I loved them. I ate them up. I wasn't a very political girl at the time. You know, I was about 16 or 17. I wasn't gonna get into that. But it was very fun. I'm gonna put it in the greats. I don't think it's super supreme for me. I don't think it's going there. The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. Another book I read 2 times. It's a duology. I was in love with it. I was obsessed with it. It's a super supreme. This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. Again, I don't know why I put 2 books by Victoria Schwab in here, given the fact that I don't remember anything about them. Actually, you know, we're gonna do a little bit of a twist in here. We're gonna transform this. We're gonna change the ranking here. Vicious, we're gonna put in the okay, and the Savage Song as well. Just because I don't remember anything about them, you know, I feel like they should be in the greats only if I remember them more, but I don't. The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, which I have actually here. I was obsessed with Becky Albertalli. It was the first book I ever pre-ordered, and I think this is the only one I ever pre-ordered, but not something that I would read right now. I don't think so. It definitely wouldn't be my first choice. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I remember this book quite okay. I would say it wouldn't go into the greats. Did I enjoy it enough to put it into the okays even? Maybe not. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I loved it. My favorite book for a little bit. I think it was the first sci-fi I've ever read, and it was fucking amazing. It's a super supreme. Jillian doesn't have any business in here actually, because I read it this year and I put it here by mistake, so I guess it's not 45 books, it's 44. So we're gonna ignore Jillian. We're gonna put her in the end in here. Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Finally, we're talking about Victoria Aveyard, because it seemed like I really wanted to talk about her at the beginning of this video. The first book I ever finished in a relatively short amount of time. To read a book like that in 3 days for me was insane. I did not continue the series. I tried reading Glass Sword, but It was a no-no. If I would have liked Glass Sword and if I would have continued with the series, I'd probably put it in Super Supreme. Actually, it might deserve Super Supreme just for how much it impacted me. You know what? Just gonna put it in there. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I really loved it. It's going into the grades. An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I have another memory of this book. My parents just bought a house years and years and years ago. I said to myself, okay, now I have a yard to read in. And I got myself a little blanket, put it on the grass, got myself something to eat, and read this book. And it was a joy. It's one of the greats. Every Heart a Doorway by Shonan McGuire. No. The thing is that it seemed interesting, and it was a little bit interesting in the beginning, but then it started to drag on, and I should have realized, and I should have DNF'd it, but I didn't, and I continued with the series, which was a mistake, because I could have read other better books. So it's a never again for me from that point of view. But I can tell you, it did give me a certain feeling that was very particular. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. It's going to the Super Supreme. I'm telling you, after I finished Throne of Glass, I was depressed. And it was no joke. Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I was amazed. I was in a state of shock. It was great. Harry Potter, the first book. This is the book that actually jump-started my my reading, because after this book, I didn't actually stop reading. So for that, I'm gonna put it in the Super Supreme. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. I absolutely loved it. I'm gonna put it in the greats. Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I read the whole book, almost, while I was at school, in one day. And it was also my first read in English, and I'm so glad I chose such a simple and easy book to read as the first book I ever read in English fully. But it's not a great book, don't get me wrong. It maybe not, it's a maybe not. Right now I would not read that. We got to the last book, The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. As I said, Jillian, we're gonna ignore her. The Name of the Wind, a classic. Somewhat of a Harry Potter, but more mature. I hope Patrick Rothfuss is gonna come out with a third book in the series in my lifetime, because what the heck? The Name of the Wind is going into the grades. This is what we have, people. This is my tier ranking of the 44 books that have turned me into a reader. Alright, I did bring a cup of coffee with me at the beginning of filming this video, but I didn't take one sip. Cheers.